Hello everyone, this is Allegedly Caleb, and I'm bringing you the news that Panzer Campaigns Kharkov 42 is currently on sale from WDS Games. So, this game is basically a simulation of the situation around Kharkov during 1942, when both the Germans and the Soviets launched counterattacks essentially at the same time. So I'm going to be showing you a lot of the scenarios. The game is currently on sale for $30. It's usually about $40. So you're getting a good 25% discount, which is always a nice discount for these types of games. And this game has so much content. You could play this game for probably years. So anyway, let's take a look at the game. So you got your starting scenarios. Then you've got a couple of, well, this scenario right here takes place before the main campaign. A bulge is born. Essentially, it's setting up the scenario that the main campaign will take place from, which is the Second Battle of Kharkov. You can see the main campaign is about 177 turns. So, you have a lot of units in this campaign. So this actually is two operations. This is the Second Battle of Kharkov and Operation Frederick. I can't quite read that. It cuts off Frederikus. So let's read the description here. In 1941, the first year of the war in Russia, the German army plowed their way across much of the Soviet Union and was stopped at the very approaches of Moscow by the Soviet winter offensive. Much has been written of this Moscow counteroffensive, but a lesser known but rather significant Russian winter offensive also occurred near Kharkov and resulted in the formation of the Izum Bulge. Both of these successes led Stalin to feel that the momentum was his. It turns out he was wrong in both cases. Nevertheless, by the spring of 1942, he was planning a bold move to encircle Kharkov and surround the German army in the Ukraine with a two-pronged attack. His attack was also to preempt the German summer offensive that was expected to happen in the Moscow region. The Soviet summer offensive was known as the Second Battle of Kharkov. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the map. We're going to double check the scenarios first. Yeah, so it seems like 177 is the largest game size, largest turn size of all the games in here. You have another 140 turn campaign, lots of 26s, an 80 turn, which is a pretty big one, a couple smaller scenarios, a lot of small scenarios actually. I'm currently looking for a new series to do for one of my regular games, and I might have to do one from here. Yeah, there's a lot of good smallish scenarios in here. Anywhere between 8 to like 30 turns, which is your ideal length in Panzer Campaigns, unless you want to go for a massive campaign. So let's take a look. So we've got the map right here. Turning the noises on. Let's open the jump map. So not as big of a map as we were looking at with Poland 39, but that, keep in mind, that was the largest map that is currently out right now. This is definitely a much smaller, not in a bad way, but it's a smaller area that the game takes place across. But it's quite dense, as you can see. Look at this. So I want to know, where is Kharkov? Here it is. Ooh, that is a lot of urban hex. A lot of urban hexes. Wow. Do we have some exit hexes? No. Oh, jeez. What that is for? 9,999. interesting. And this one starts out with a draw too, so it kind of leaves it up to both sides to hit one another and cause casualties. So let's take a look at the map starting from the top. It's a lot of very open terrain, which you'd expect on the Eastern Front. You got a couple of rivers, a lot of urban terrain too. Some forest lines. Looks like the forest lines are where most of the units tend to start. Then you got that river right there. Looks like the concentration is over here. So it seems like the Soviets' plan was to try and encircle Kharkov. So they've got the bulk of their forces basically surrounding it. So I imagine their plan was to try and pincer their way forward and end up being like maybe back here. I think we'll all know that that did not turn out because it is still 1942. But you got some interesting terrain to keep track of. You can see lots of German armored forces in the back lines. Lots of Soviet armored forces too. Some guard formations. Soviet guards are in red. They're basically their elite troops. Don't see any SS so far. Yeah, let's turn objectives off. There we go. Oh, interesting. Their supply is over here. So if they lose that, a lot of these guys will lose their supply. I feel like the Germans can defend Kharkov pretty easily if the Soviets try to attack it directly, just because it's such a big city. Got some Hungarians. Interesting. They're pretty awful. Yeah. 4 soft attack. That's really bad. Even the Soviets have better than that. Yeah. Let's see what the Germans have right now. 9-1. Oh, theirs will fluctuate depending on the type of infantry battalion, or the type of division it is. Some Grad rockets. Who are these? Are these Italians? No, Romanians. Oh yeah, these. Their morale level is A. I wonder if those are elite Romanians. Because historically, you'll hear that the Romanians were really bad. Here's more Romanians. Okay, yeah, here's the normal Romanians. Yeah, that's more what we'd expect. Not to throw shade on any Romanian viewers, it's just, obviously, the Romanians didn't have as much of... They didn't feel like this fight was theirs as much as the Germans did. They were kind of pulled into it. What's this dark green? Oh, more Hungarians. Got some Hungarian recon right there. Are these Italians? They are. Nice. Got a small little group of Italians over there. Big old German stacks over here. At this point, the German tank forces were starting to put out some of their better tanks. Earlier in the war, which is mostly what I've shown on my channel, in 1939 and 1940, the German tank forces weren't fully completed yet. So they still consisted mostly of Panzer 1s and 2s. Very few Panzer 3s. But nice. The Germans have a lot of good tanks. Oh, here's some Panzer 38s. Those were really good in my the games we're used to, but in this game they're probably not going to be as good. So what the Germans seem to want to do is basically encircle this whole pocket. They've also got a bunch of troops back here. So I don't know. Maybe they were going to try to punch down there? That's a good question. Anyway, it's a large campaign. Let's take a look at some of the Soviets' units. Here's their T-34s. Those are good units. What are these, T-60s? Those are not as good. They're rifle battalions, not great. Ooh, some Matildas. Those are Lend-Lease tanks. Those are from the English. The bulk of these Soviet units, though, are going to be, of their tank units, are going to be their T-34s and their T-60s, probably. Because they tended to have medium tanks mixed with light tanks. At least at this point in the war. KV-1s, ooh. Defense of 21. That's really good. BT-7s too. I think the BT series was said to be a failure, but if you know anything about the Soviet, excuse me, if you know anything about this specific front, or if you know a lot about it, definitely feel free to give me some fun facts in the comments, because this is one area of history I've not studied as much as I want to. Some mixed tanks. Wonder what those are supposed to be. Oh, some Valentines. KV-1s, Matildas. It's just like a hodgepodge of a bunch of different types of tanks. Yeah, more mixed tanks. More Matildas. They had a lot of those. So here's some T-26s. Those are not very good. What's the Soviet Guard unit stats? Okay, not that different from their normal stats. They just have more morale, basically. Some motorized forces over here. Okay. Their units over here are definitely not as good. T-37 and 38s. Huh. I don't recognize those as much. Those might have been scout tanks. There's a Guard Cavalry division. Okay. Interesting. A lot of interesting units here. Oh, jeez, look. Morale level A. A. Is that universal across the Germans? Morale level A? Mostly. Seems like it mostly is. Morale level A and B. Yeah, A. Geez, they really bumped up the German morale level. I guess you gotta do it to show the discrepancy in between the forces of both sides. Because in France 40 and in Poland 39, the Germans are not, I mean, they're good, but they're not that good. Morale level A is usually reserved for like their most elite units, like their Großdeutschland troops, those types of guys. 1 second. Okay. Just checking. I have some lunch. Ooh, some food arriving soon. Nice. How long have I been going? Only about 16 minutes. Alright, I'll need to pause this recording. Be right back. Alright, I am back. Sorry for the interruption. I'm just got some IHOP. International House of Pancakes. Got some German reinforcements. Ooh, some interesting little armored cars. Conf group. More units over there. Some more back here. Oh, who are these guys? Security? Oh. I wonder if those were SS men. So-called security who would go around and basically execute people. Or if those were just actually policemen. That's a good question. More units back here. And Kharkov, man, that would be so difficult to take. Let's see, we got one bridge right here, another bridge right here. So literally just 2 bridges across. Technically 3, I guess, because you can get across that way. Whew, that would be difficult. Here's another group of vehicles. Got a bunch of, what is this? Armored trains, interesting. Got some 88s. Yep, those are going to put a stop to some of these Soviet units. Interesting. Well, it seems pretty sure they'll break through the front line, but they'll probably get stopped. Probably. You never know. I wonder though, let's look at what the reinforcements looks like for the Germans. Not that much. Yeah, not much at all. Looks like they get some motorized infantry reinforcements. Okay, so they'll get about 1 division's worth of reinforcements, it seems. Yeah. Let's check the strength comparisons. Russians have less strength than the Germans do. Interesting. Planes? That's the Soviets. Air Force, not super large. Be interested to see what their counterparts are... How about withdrawals? No withdrawals. No strategies? Okay. Interesting. Well, that is the main campaign. Let's go take a look at a couple other scenarios. Let's look at this first one. This is a little small one. This would be a good one to start out with. They got some martyrs. Yeah. Some stugs. Cool. That's a cute little... Not cute, that's the wrong word. That's a nice little easily playable campaign. Or, not a campaign, but easily playable little game. Let's see what the difference is between that big campaign and this less big one. Huh. It looks about the same to me. Interesting. Wonder what the real difference is. Let's go and take a look at a couple more. Got a couple of these smaller scenarios. I'm gonna look at like some of the medium ones. This one looks interesting. Basically, you gotta break across this river. Where are the victory objectives? It just seems like your objective is to get across the river. You got 150, 50. Oh, maybe more than just that. Looks like you have to destroy a bunch of German forces too. Let's take a look at objectives. Yeah, so there are only 3. So your main goal is just to destroy enemy forces, I guess. Wonder how you'd go about doing that. Anyway, let's take a look at some more. Ooh, this is a big one. It's called Charge to Chuguev. So it looks like that must be your main objective. Maybe you're trying to cut off all these guys by getting there with both forces. Interesting. We've gone for almost half an hour. Let's take a little longer to look. Oh, you know what we haven't done yet? We have not looked at the notes section. The manual. There it is. Yeah. So this is what you'll get when you get the game. You'll get this whole folder where it'll give you a couple of campaign maps, planning maps, a whole bunch of resources to use, a bunch of the history, how it was built, the game I mean, scenario informations, this is helpful. I wish they had something like this in all of these games. Order of battle, and the bibliography. Something that I really liked about France 40 that I wish more of these designer notes had were an overview of all of the different forces and their morale level. Let's see. Yeah, they don't have anything like that. Let's see what this is. Oh, this is a difference between the campaign game, I guess. Because there were a couple different campaign games you could play. Campaign map. This is what happened historically. So you'll see the Soviets pushed down south. Looks like they pushed north too, but they couldn't get anywhere with that. Next, looks like they pushed a little bit over the Donetsk. Then they pushed almost around Kharkov. Now let's see how the Germans punished them. Yep. Oh my god. And then they just, boom. Knocked them all the way back. That's crazy. That's really crazy. Wonder how many of their troops were captured. Well, that is an overview of the overall campaign and a couple of the scenarios. Anatomy of a military disaster. Let's see what this is. Interesting that it's now faced opposite directions. Soviets do not look like they're in a good place in this game. Look at this. They do not have enough troops to pull this off. Let's look at how many Germans there are. Oh my god. Oh my god. You even got some Italians on the corner. Jeez. Yeah, I can say that this does look like the anatomy of a military disaster. Jeez. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed watching. We are about to hit 30 minutes. So, if you're interested in this game, let me know. Again, it's all on sale. And I decided that when one of their games goes on sale, specifically in the Panzer Campaigns games, I want to showcase it because I want people to be able to see what they're going to get. So, everyone, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And yeah, my next game might have to come from one of these scenarios. We'll see. Anyway, everyone, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.